Hello my dear students, welcome to Homeschool. In this session, we are going to discuss some important previous year's questions. And this question paper is prepared as per the new CBSE question paper pattern. I know you all were very busy with your revisions, right? I am sure that this question paper will help you to score more marks because all the questions that we are going to discuss in this question paper are repeatedly asked for the previous year's board examinations. So let's start the discussion. As per the new CBSE question paper, there will be total 39 questions and all the questions are compulsory, but in some of the questions you will be having an internal choice. So if there is an internal choice, you can attempt any one. Okay, make sure that you are not going to attend both the questions. If you attend like that, they will not evaluate the second answer. Okay, and section A consists of 20 objective type questions. Then section B consists of 6 very short answer questions. Section C consists of 7 short answer type questions and they carry 3 marks. Okay, and section D consists of 3 long answer type questions carrying 5 marks. And the last section, section E, consists of 3 source based or case based questions. One from chemistry, one from biology and one from physics. Okay, so let's start with chemistry. Section A. Select and write one most appropriate option out of the 4 options given for each of the questions 1 to 20. First question, match the following with the correct response. First column, alcohol. Which is the suited one for alcohol here? Is it X, CHO, OH or CO? Yes, we know alcohol symbol is OH, right? So it is C. So here C is in option D, right? So option D is the correct answer. Aldehyde. What is the correct one? Aldehyde. It is B. So here also it is correct. Then ketone. It is CO, right? So it is D. That is also correct here. And the last one, haloalkane, represents X, right? 4A. So all the answers are correctly given in option D. So our answer for this question is D, 1C, 2B, 3D and 4A. Okay. Coming to the second question. In the equation Cu plus XHNO3 giving CuNO3 twice plus YNO2 plus 2H2O, the values of X and Y are dash. 3 and 1, 8 and 6, 4 and 2, 7 and 1. So look at this equation. Here you can see in the right hand side there are 4 water molecules, right? 4. So how many hydrogen should be there in the left hand side? It should also be 4, isn't it? So X is 4. Okay. So out of here D is having X4. So Y is 2 here. So let's check. In the case of nitrogen, what is the total number of nitrogen atoms in the right hand side? Here we have Y and here we have 2. So total in the right hand side, the number of nitrogen atoms is 2 plus Y. 2 plus Y. But in the left hand side, what is the total number of nitrogen? It is 4, isn't it? So that means the number of atoms, this is on the right hand side and on the left hand side it is, so Y is 4 minus 2, that is 2. Okay, so here our answer is 4 and 2. Okay. Coming to the third question. Electrolysis of water is a decomposition reaction. Identify the mole ratio of hydrogen and oxygen gases liberated during electrolysis of water. We know during electrolysis of water, decomposition takes place, electrolytic decomposition occurs, and water splits into hydrogen and oxygen. And here, the amount of hydrogen formed is double that of oxygen, isn't it? So, what is the ratio? It is 2:1. Okay, so our answer is B, 2:1. Okay. Here, in fourth question, you can see the image which represents electrolytic refining of copper. And our question is, which option explains the process to obtain pure copper? And we have four options here. When current is passed, pure copper from anode deposits to the cathode. No, it's wrong. Let's see B. When current is passed, pure copper from anode deposits in the electrolytic solution. That is also a wrong statement. When current is passed, pure copper from the electrolytic solution deposits at the anode. It's again wrong. Last option D. When current is passed, pure copper from the electrolytic solution deposits at the cathode. That is correct, isn't it? So, pure copper from the electrolytic solution is getting deposited at the cathode. So, our answer for the question is option D. Okay. Now, coming to the fifth question. What happens when a solution of acid is mixed with a solution of a base in a test tube? The temperature of the solution increases, the temperature of the solution decreases, temperature of the solution remains the same, salt formation takes place. So, we know whenever an acid reacts with a base, we will get salt and water. So, salt formation takes place. That is correct. Isn't it? And this neutralization reaction is highly exothermic in nature. Isn't it? So, the temperature of the solution will surely increase. Isn't it? It will increase. So, first one is also correct. So, which is our correct answer here? Is it 1 only? 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 4? It is 1 and 4. Okay, option D. So, remember, whenever an acid reacts with a base, you will get salt and water and the reaction is highly exothermic. So, the temperature of the solution increases. Coming to the sixth question, the image shows the pH values of 4 solutions on a pH scale. Here you can see the pH scale and the values. Which solutions are alkaline in nature? Which are basic? We know 7 is neutral, so B is neutral. What about A? A is having pH less than 7. That means it is acidic, isn't it? Acidic in nature. What is the question? Which solutions are alkaline in nature? We know alkaline solutions are having pH above 7 up to 14, isn't it? So, C and D having pH values 9 and 12 respectively are alkaline in nature. So, our answer is C and D, that is option C. Okay. Coming to the seventh question. 2 gases G having suffocating odor are obtained when a green solid S is heated along with a residue R. These gases are major air pollutants. When the vapors of the gases are collected and dissolved in water, the solution turns blue litmus to red. The color of the residue becomes red. What would be S, R and G? Let's have a look at the options here. We know out of this, which of the substance is S? Yes, we have a clue that the substance is green in color, right? So, it is ferrous sulfate. And when ferrous sulfate is heated, we know thermal decomposition takes place. And as a result, what is formed? We will get a reddish brown ferric oxide, isn't it? Fe2O3. So, there is chance for the answer to become B or C. And here, G is given as H2O, H2O2, SO2 and SO3. We know they are having suffocating smell, isn't it? So, what are coming for G? It is sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, isn't it? Once it is dissolved in water, it forms acid. That's why they are turning blue litmus to red. So, our answer for the question is C, because ferrous sulfate is green in color, ferric oxide is the reddish brown residue, and sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide produces suffocating smell, and they contribute they are main air pollutants. Okay, so our answer is C. Now, coming to assertion reason questions. There will be two statements given. The first one will be assertion and the second one will be the reason. And you have to select the correct option based on the assertion and the reason given. So, let's have a look at the question first. Assertion given is zinc oxide is amphoteric in nature. Is it a correct statement? Yes, zinc oxide is amphoteric. So, it is true. Reason given is zinc oxide reacts with both acids and bases. Amphoteric oxides means oxides which can react with both acids and bases, isn't it? So, the reason is also correct. So, out of the four, which is the correct answer? It is A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Okay, so our answer for the assertion and reason is A. Clear? Now, let's have a look at section B. Here, question number 21 to 26 are very short answer questions. Each carry 2 marks. Okay. So, question 21. Why should curd and sour substance not be kept in brass and copper vessels? We know curd contains lactic acid, isn't it? Similarly, sour substances, if it is fruit, it contains citric acid. So, curd and sour substances usually contain acids in it. So, when these food items are kept in brass and copper vessels, we know brass is an alloy, copper is a metal. So, whenever metal reacts with acid, what will happen? It produces hydrogen gas and salt. So, when the curd or any other sour substance is kept in brass or copper vessel, what will happen? It reacts with the vessel, and as a result of this reaction, poisonous salt will be formed, and also it leads to the corrosion of the vessel. Okay, and in turn it can cause food poisoning. So, the salt formed here is actually not good for consumption. So, as a result, the food will be spoiled. Okay. Now, coming to the OR question. So, make sure you are going to attend only any one question. Okay. What is an oxidizing agent? What happens when an oxidizing agent is added to propanol? Explain with the help of a chemical equation. What is oxidizing agent? Yes, oxidizing agent is a substance that is capable of adding oxygen to other substance, isn't it? And the main oxidizing agents include alkaline potassium permanganate or acidified potassium dichromate. So, when these oxidizing agents are added, it can convert what? An alcohol to corresponding acid. So, let's have a look what happens when an oxidizing agent is added to propanol. What's the formula of propanol? CH3, CH2, CH2OH. When this propanol is treated with any one of the oxidizing agent, here we are going to take alkaline KMNO4 plus heat. what will happen? It will get converted into the corresponding acid. So here we have propanol, right? So it gets converted into propanoic acid. How? By the addition of oxygen. So we will get CH3, CH2, COOH. That is propanoic acid. Clear? So this is the equation. Propanol on adding with an oxidizing agent like alkaline KMnO4 or acidified potassium dichromate, what will happen? Alcohol gets converted into the corresponding acid. Coming to the next question. This is section C. We know in section C, each question carry 3 marks. Here you have 4 compounds given. You have to name them. Okay. Look at the first one. In order to name the organic compound, first find out the number of carbon atoms. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbon atoms are there. So what will be the name starting with? Meth, eth, prop, but, pent. And here we have COOH. What is COOH? It is an acid. So we have 5 carbon atoms and the end we have an acid, carboxylic acid. So pentane plus acid will give you pentanoic acid. Pentanoic acid. Clear? Now coming to the second one. Again you take the number of carbon atoms here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So meth, eth, prop, but. The name starts with but. Here you can see in the right end, the carbon atoms are bonded with a triple bond, isn't it? Since a triple bond is involved, the name will end with YNE. It is an alkyne, isn't it? So what is the name? Name of the organic compound is butane. Okay. Coming to the third one. First, here you can see a functional group CHO. That means it is an aldehyde, isn't it? Aldehyde. So the name will ends with al, al. Okay. First, find out the number of carbon atoms. Okay. Meth, eth, prop, but, pent, hex, hept. So it is heptanal because it is an aldehyde, isn't it? So it is heptanal. Coming to fourth one. Here you can see an OH group again. So it is an alcohol. So the name will end with OL, all. Look at the number of carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So meth, eth, prop, but, pent. And alcohol is there. So pentane plus alcohol will give you pentanol. Okay, pentanol. This is the last one. It is pentanol. Clear? So the name of the organic compounds are pentanoic acid, butane, heptanal and pentanol. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the next question. Question number 28. Balance and complete the following equations. Here we have first one Na plus O2. Na plus O2. It will give you Na2O, right? Sodium oxide. Now we have to balance it, isn't it? So oxygen on the reactant side is 2, but on the product side is 1. So to make it balanced, we put 2 on the product side. Now the number of sodium atoms become 4 on the product side, but on the reactant side it is 1. So to make it 4, we have to put 4 here. Now the equation is balanced. 4Na plus O2 giving 2Na2O. Clear? Next question. NaOH plus H2SO4. Acid plus base. We will get a salt and water. Right? So here we will get Na2SO4, NaOH plus H2SO4 gives Na2SO4 plus H2O. Here, to make it balanced, let's have a look at the sodium atoms. On the reactant side, we have 1, but on the product side, we have 2, isn't it? So, to make it balanced, we can put 2 here. Now, sodium atoms becomes 2. Now, look at the number of hydrogen atoms. Here, 2 plus 2. So, total on the reactant side, we have 4 hydrogen atoms. But on the product side, we have only 2. So, to make it balanced, let's put 2 here. Now, the equation becomes balanced. Okay. 2 NaOH plus H2SO4 giving Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. Coming to the third one, PbNO3 twice plus Ki. What will happen here? When lead nitrate PbNO3 twice reacts with potassium iodide, double displacement reaction takes place, isn't it? So, here we will get PbI2 and KNO3. Okay. So, here iodine is 1 on the reactant side but 2 on the product side. So, to make it balanced, we can put 2 here. Now, potassium becomes 2 on the reactant side, but on the product side, we have only 1. So, to make it balanced, we have to put 2 here. Now, look, all the atoms are having same numbers. So, PbNO3 twice plus 2 Ki giving PbI2 plus 2 KNO3. That is a balanced equation. Okay. So, if you have any confusion, what should you do? You have to write the name of the atoms on the left hand side and right hand side separately and balance with the atom having the highest number. Then you will get the answers accordingly. Okay, children. Moving to the next section. Section D. So, here question number 34 to 36 are long answer questions. So, each question carry 5 marks. Okay. Here, the first part of the question is, a compound X and aluminium are used to join railway tracks. Identify the compound X, name the reaction and write down its reaction. What is the compound X here? We know aluminium reacts with iron trioxide, isn't it? And it is used to join railway tracks. We call that reaction thermite reaction, isn't it? So, here the compound X is iron trioxide. Okay, iron trioxide. And what is the name of the reaction? Yes, it is thermite reaction. Thermite reaction. We know this reaction is highly exothermic. Large amount of heat is given out. So, the metal formed is seen in the molten state. Let's see the reaction. Iron trioxide, that is Fe2O3 solid plus 2Al aluminium. Once they combine, displacement reaction takes place. So, as a result, you will get Al2O3 solid plus 2Fe. And this iron is in the liquid state. That means it is in the molten state plus heat. Okay. So, this is a highly exothermic reaction. I hope it is clear. Coming to the second part of the question, a metal compound A reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to produce a gas which extinguishes a burning candle. Identify the compound A and the gas produced. Write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction if one of the compounds formed in the reaction is sodium sulfate. Okay. So, let's see the reaction. Here, the compound reacts with sulfuric acid. One of the product formed is sodium sulfate. And here, a gas is produced which extinguishes burning candle. We know that is carbon dioxide, isn't it? So, whenever a metal carbonate reacts with An acid, we will get a metal salt, carbon dioxide and water. Okay, since here sodium sulfate is one of the product formed, what will be the metal carbonate here? It will be sodium carbonate. Clear, children? Yes. So, what is compound A? Compound A is sodium carbonate, Na2CO3. Okay. And what is the gas produced here? It is carbon dioxide. Write the chemical equation. So, let's write the equation. Na2CO3 plus sulfuric acid H2SO4 giving Na2SO4 plus CO2 plus H2O. Okay, here already this equation is balanced. Clear, children? This is the answer for the question. So, if you write all these answers, you will be getting 5 marks. Okay. Moving to its OR question. So, either you can attempt that question or you can write this question. Let's see the answer for this OR question. What is plaster of Paris? What is plaster of Paris? We know plaster of Paris is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Isn't it? That is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay, hemihydrate. Or you can say it is CaSO for half H2O. Okay. Now, how is plaster of Paris prepared? Write the equation of the reaction involved. How do we prepare plaster of Paris? Yes, by heating gypsum at 373 Kelvin or at 100 degrees Celsius. Isn't it? So, let's write the equation involved here. What is gypsum? CaSO4 dot 2H2O. Isn't it? CaSO4 2H2O. When it is heated at 373 Kelvin, this gypsum gets converted into plaster of Paris. That is CaSO4 dot half H2O. Okay, so this is the equation showing the preparation of plaster of Paris. In words, how should you write the answer? By heating gypsum at 373 Kelvin, we will get plaster of Paris. Okay, what happens when water is added to plaster of Paris? What happens? Yes, when water is added to plaster of Paris, it again gets converted to gypsum. Actually, in the second question, in the preparation of plaster of Paris, 1.5 molecules of water is getting lost. Understood? So, it loses 1.5 molecules of water and forms plaster of Paris. But when we add water to plaster of Paris, what is happening? 1.5 molecules getting added and it will form gypsum. So, what happens when water is added to plaster of Paris? When water is added to plaster of Paris, we will get gypsum. Gypsum will be formed. Okay. Write an equation to show the reaction between plaster of Paris and water. So, let's write the equation. CaSO4 dot half H2O combining with 1.5 molecules of water, you will get gypsum. That is CaSO4 dot 2H2O. Okay. So, here this plaster of Paris is actually a white powder. Once it converts into gypsum, it becomes a hard, solid mass. Clear, children? Okay. Coming to the last section. Section E. Question number 37 to 39 are case-based or data-based questions with 2 to 3 short subparts. Internal choice is provided in one of these subparts. So, let's read it first. 37. Corrosion is the phenomenon of deterioration of surface of metal in the presence of air and moisture. It is a natural process, and in the presence of a moist atmosphere, chemically active metals gets corroded. This is an oxidation reaction. Rusting is a process where iron corrodes due to the exposure to the atmosphere. The main circumstance of corrosion occurs with iron because it is a structural material in construction, bridges, buildings, rail transport, ships, etc. Aluminium is also an important structural metal, but even aluminium undergoes oxidation reactions. However, aluminium doesn't corrode or oxidize as rapidly as its reactivity suggests. An alloy of aluminium or any other metal like magnesium can make aluminium stronger and harder. Copper, Cu, corrodes and forms a basic green carbonate, and lead corrodes to form a white lead oxide or carbonate. So, based on this paragraph, 4 questions are there. So, here in the third question, you are having a choice. You can write any one. You can attempt any one of the question. Other questions are compulsory. So, let's see the questions. First one, what is rusting? So, here from this paragraph itself, you will get the answer for rusting. What is given here? Rusting is the process where iron corrodes due to the exposure to the atmosphere. Okay, you can write that, or you can say oxidation. Rusting is an oxidation reaction where iron corrodes due to exposure to the atmosphere. Okay, that is the answer for the question. And if you want, you can add the formula for rust also. What's the formula for rust? Fe2O3 dot XH2O. That also, if you want, you can add. Second one, which two metals do not corrode easily? Low reactive metals, which are seen at the bottom of the reactivity series, do not corrode easily. Examples include gold, platinum. Okay, gold and platinum. Coming to the third question. List 2 properties of alloys. We know alloy is a homogeneous mixture of 2 or more metals, or metal and non-metal, isn't it? And their main properties include they exhibit resistance towards corrosion. Okay, they resist corrosion. That's the first point. Second one, compared to the pure metals, alloys have low conductivity and low melting point. Okay, and they are generally hard. Okay, compared to metals, alloys are generally hard and they have low ductility. These are some of the important properties of alloys. Okay, coming to the OR question. Give an example for alloy. Can you give an example? Yes, brass. Brass, then bronze, solder. Okay, brass, bronze and solder are the main examples for alloy. I hope the questions are clear to you, right? Wish you all the very best, children.
Hi my dear students, welcome to the session. So today we are going to discuss a previous year question paper on your CBSE pattern. Okay, we have already discussed a set 1 question paper and here you will be having a set 2 question paper for this. Okay, so the main instructions and the timings of the exam that you have already understood. Okay, so we have to directly get into the questions. Okay, so section A, question number 8. Which of the following statements are correct? Okay, so the statements given are pyruvate can be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide by yeast. Second one, fermentation takes place in the case of aerobic bacteria. Right, then fermentation takes place in mitochondria. Fermentation is a form of anaerobic respiration. So, from this statement, you have to choose the correct statements. Okay, so let's see the first one. pyruvate can be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide by yeast cells. That you know well about the fermentation that happens inside this yeast cell. Okay, so in that pyruvate is a 3-carbon compound that is formed after glycolysis, right? So this pyruvate will be converted into what? An alcohol, ethanol, right? An alcohol and carbon dioxide, ethyl alcohol and a carbon dioxide in yeast cell. So the first statement is correct one, right? Then next one, fermentation takes place in the case of aerobic bacteria. No, that's a wrong one, right? Fermentation, that you know, it is actually the anaerobic mode of respiration, right? So it does not take place in case of aerobic bacteria. Okay, so this is a false statement, right? Then fermentation takes place in mitochondria. No, that is also a wrong one, because you know that fermentation will take place in yeast cells. Okay, as we already see in the first statement, yeast cells, and in bacterial cells, and in our animals, in the muscle cells, human beings, the muscle cells also you can find the fermentation, right? So that is again a wrong statement. Then fermentation is a form of anaerobic respiration. Yes, that we have already discussed. It is a kind of an anaerobic respiration that happens in the absence of oxygen. Okay, without oxygen, the respiration has happened. That is fermentation, right? You have to choose the statement 1 and 4. Okay, these two statements are correct one. So 1 and 5. So you can choose the option C as the correct answer. Right. Okay. Question number 9. Which of the following helps in the upward movement of water and dissolved minerals from the roots to the leaves through the stem? Okay, the options are transportation, translocation, tropical movement and transpiration. Okay, so you well know about what is transportation. That is actually a movement of some molecules from one area to the another one. Okay, that is transportation. And translocation means the transportation of food materials through the phloem tissues in plants. That is translocation. And the tropical movement, that means the plant movements. The plants will show certain movements according to the stimulants. Okay, so that is tropism or tropical movements. And the last one is transpiration. That is actually the evaporative loss of water from the surfaces of the leaves. Okay, so through the transpirational water loss, what happens inside the plant? The plant will lose its water content. Okay, the water present inside the leaf will getting lost through the transpiration process. Then these plant parts will exert a suction pressure towards the root regions. Okay, then the roots of the plants are forcibly absorb more amount of water from the soil. Okay, water and minerals from the soil, and it will be getting transported through the stem, and at last it will be reaching to the leaves of the plant. Okay, so in that concept we can identify the option D will be, okay, that is the correct answer. Okay, so the transpiration is the correct answer for this question. Okay, question number 10. Which of the following may be used to obtain an F2 generation? Okay, so options are allowing flowers on a parent plant to be self-pollinated, allowing flowers on an F1 plant to be self-pollinated, cross-pollinating an F1 plant with a parent plant, cross-pollinating two parent plants. Okay, so which one may be used to obtain an F2 generation? Okay, we know that when we are drawing a cross between two parents, okay, two parent plants are taking, okay, if you are considering as this is a parent plant, okay, and this will be a parent plant. Okay, this is a homozygous dominant parent. Okay, this is again a homozygous recessive parent, right? So these are the two parents. Then we'll get gametes from these parents, right? We'll get gametes. Then the gametes will fuse and they will be forming an F1 generation plant. Okay, this is the F1 generation plant. So which of the following may be used to obtain an F2 generation? That is the question. So for getting an F2 generation, we are choosing this F1 plant and we are going to self-pollinate this F1 plants. We are going to self-pollinate this F1 plants, right? Then we will get an F2 generation, right? So the answer is allowing flowers on an F1 plant to be self-pollinated, right? So this will be the correct option, right? Next, question number 11. A doctor advised a person to take injection of insulin because we know that what is the use of this insulin? Right, we know that insulin is a protein, okay, it is a hormone which is secreted from pancreas, right? Pancreas is a heterocrine gland that you know, okay. So when this pancreas secretes insulin, when our normal body blood glucose level, our normal blood glucose level, okay, when the normal blood glucose level that will getting increased, glucose level in the blood will getting increased, what happens? The pancreas will, okay, pancreas, the beta cells, the beta cells of the pancreas will secrete insulin hormone. Okay, then this insulin hormone, what it actually done? This insulin hormone will convert the blood glucoses into different forms. It will convert into glycogen, fats and all. Okay, and it will maintain the normal glucose level. Okay, so the increased level will become reduced and it will maintain the normal level. Okay, so that is the insulin. So the question is, a doctor has advised a person to take insulin injection because what will happen? Because his blood sugar was very high. That is the reason. Okay, his blood pressure was very high. No. His heartbeat was fast. No. His blood sugar was very high. Blood glucose level will be very high. Then the doctor is advised to take a insulin injection. And his thyroxine level in blood was high. No. Okay, so this will be the correct answer. Then, question number 12. One of the following is a surgical method which prevents the sperms from reaching the ovum and pregnancy does not occur. This method is, what is this method indicating? IUCD, that is intrauterine contraceptive devices, vasectomy. Okay, vasectomy is what? It is actually the cutting of the vas deferens in males and tying it, okay, to avoiding, for the contraception. Okay, it is a surgical method. Condoms, they are actually barrier methods for contraception and physical barriers. And tubectomy, it's actually done in females, cutting the oviduct or the fallopian tube and tying it, okay, for the prevention of pregnancy, for contraception. Okay, so here the question is a surgical method which is being help in preventing the sperms from reaching the ovum and preventing the pregnancy. Okay, so that you can choose this one as the correct one. Okay, vasectomy, it is the surgical method for this, right? Then, question number 17 to 20 are assertion reason type of questions. So, these consist of two statements that you know, assertion and reason. Answer these questions selecting the appropriate options given below. You well know about the options of assertion reason type of question, right? So, let's see the question. Assertion, Mental chose a number of varieties of garden pea as plant material for his experiment. Okay, so we know that Gregor Johann Mendel taking pea plant as his experimental material, right? So Mendel chose a number of varieties of garden pea plant as a material for his experiment. That is a correct statement, right? Then reason is garden pea has well-defined characters and it was bisexual. That is the reason. Okay, so we know that garden pea plants, okay, it will be having well-defined characters like it is very easily available. Okay, its availability, it is easily available. It is easily available and very easy to conduct fertilization experiments. Okay, pollinations and all, it is very easy to conduct that kind of experiments in pea plants. And also the plant is bisexual too. Okay, so these are the well-defined characters that is present in pea plants. So that is why Mendel chose pea plants as his experimental material, right? And he actually chose 7 contrasting characters. Okay, so the assertion and reason are true and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. You can choose A as the option here. Next assertion, the main organ of the human excretory system is kidney. Okay, so we know that kidneys will be acting as the main excretory organs in our body, right? So what is the reason for that? Because kidneys will perform the function of removing excess amount of water and nitrogenous waste from the body. Okay, so that is correct one, right? Because kidneys will helps for the excretion of excess amount of water as well as nitrogenous waste materials. Okay, all these things will be getting eliminated through the processes that taking place inside the kidney. Okay, ultrafiltration and all taking place inside the nephrons of the kidney, right? So the assertion and reason are the correct truth statements, and the reason is the correct explanation for this assertion, right? Then question number 22. What happens? It is actually the question from section B. Okay. So what happens at the synapse between two neurons? Okay. You can see the figure of a synapse here. Okay. This is actually the figure of a synapse. So what do you mean by synapse? That means two neurons, they are actually communicating at the junctions. Okay. And that junctions are called as these synapse. Okay. The junction between two neurons, that is actually the synapse. So the communication will be happening between the two neurons actually at the synapse, right? So here in the figure, you know that you can clearly see that this is one neuron and this is another neuron, nerve endings that you can see. So this is the presynaptic neuron. Okay. Presynaptic neuron, and this is the postsynaptic neuron, right? And in the presynaptic neuron, you can see the axon terminals of the axon, and these are the synaptic vesicles in which some chemical messengers are there. Okay, that is neurotransmitters are present inside this synaptic vesicles. Okay, and at the tip of this presynaptic neuron, you can see certain channels. Okay, certain voltage gated calcium channels you can see, and in the postsynaptic nerve also you can see certain channels, okay, through which ions will be getting passed, right? And this is actually the synaptic cleft. Okay, that is the space between the two neurons. Okay, that is actually the synaptic cleft. Okay, so what happens at the synapse, okay, between two neurons is that what happens actually, a potential, okay, a potential will getting activated here. Okay, so the calcium ions will get enter into this presynaptic neurons. Then what will happen? This due to that generated impulses, what will happen? These vesicles will force to release the neurotransmitters. They will get release the neurotransmitters to the synaptic cleft. Okay, then these neurotransmitters will bind to the receptors that is being present in the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, then the informations will be get transmitted along the next neuron. Okay, from one neuron to next neuron, the informations will get transmitted. Okay, and most of the synapses are usually chemical synapses. Chemical synapse. That means through some chemical messages or some chemical messengers, the synapse or the impulses will get transmitted through the two neurons. Okay, between two neurons. Right. So this is what happens at the synapse between two neurons. Then question number 23. Two green plants are kept separately in oxygen-free containers, one in dark and the other in a continuous light condition. Which one live longer? Give reason. Okay, obviously you know that two oxygen-free containers. Okay, two plants, green plants were kept in separate oxygen-free containers. Okay, and the one of the plant will kept in dark condition and the other one will kept in light condition. And obviously you know that the plant which is present in the light condition or which will continuously get the light condition. Okay, so that plant is being live longer, right? What is the reason for that? That plant, the plant which is present in this or kept in the light condition will have the ability to photosynthesize because of the availability of the sunlight, right? So it will get photosynthesized and it will produce the food materials, that is glucose is being synthesized, and the plant also release certain amount of oxygen too, right? And this oxygen that is released from that plant, okay, green plant, that is being utilized by that plant for its respiration too. Okay, so this is the reason for this question, right? So if two green plants are kept separately in oxygen-free containers, one in the dark and the other one in a continuous light condition, the latter will live longer. Okay, that is the plant which is kept in the light condition will live longer because it will perform photosynthesis because of the availability of the sunlight, and during photosynthesis, oxygen will be released, right, which will be utilized by the plant for its respiration, right. Then, question number 24. write the basic materials which is used during photosynthesis. Okay, that is the requirements for photosynthesis that is being asked here. Okay, what are the requirements? We know that carbon dioxide, okay, which is the essential material for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide. Then some amount of water is being required, right? Then what happens? Then what it needs? Then sunlight, okay. Sunlight is also a limiting factor for photosynthesis, sunlight, right? Then it requires chlorophyll molecules, chlorophyll, okay. So these are the main requirements for photosynthesis. And write the chemical equation for photosynthesis that you know, okay. 6 molecule of carbon dioxide plus 12 molecules of water, okay, in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll molecule, it will synthesize the main photosynthetic product, that is glucose, C6H12O6. Okay, glucose is being synthesized plus oxygen is being released, 6 molecules of oxygen. Okay, and some amount of water is also released. Okay, so this is the equation for photosynthesis, right? Then, question number 26. In the following food chain, only 2 joules of energy was available to the peacocks. Okay, here you can see a simple food chain, grass, grasshopper, frog, snake and peacock, right? So here in this food chain only 2 joules of energy was available to the peacock. This peacock will be having 2 joules of energy, right? Then how much energy would have been present in grass? Okay, justify your answer. In grass, how much energy is being present in the grasses? Okay, the first trophic level, and peacock is the last trophic level for this food chain, right? So, according to the law of 10%, okay, according to 10% law, okay, you know that according to this 10% law, what has happened? That is the energy that is present in one trophic level. Okay, so from that, only 10% of energy is getting passed to the next trophic level. Okay, so this is the law of 10%. Okay, so how much energy is present in this grass, first trophic level? From that, if let it consider as A amount of energy is present in grass, then the 10% of this A will be transported to the next trophic level, to the grasshopper. Okay, so according to this law, we can predict the answer for this question. Right. So, the peacock will be having 2 joules of energy. Okay. So, the energy from the snake. Okay. We can calculate the energy from the snake. Okay. How much energy will get from the snake? Okay. It will be considered. Let it will be A. Okay. So, A into this energy, the 10% of this A will be transported to this peacock. So, the 10% of A, that is 2 joules, that is getting for this peacock, this much of energy, right? So, from this we can calculate A as what? 20 joules of energy, right? 20 joules of energy, right? So, like that we can calculate the energy for a pump. So, for snake, it will be having 20 joules of energy. Then, the energy from the next organism, that is energy from the frog, it will be considered as B. Then, B into 10%, that is this 20%. That is the 20 joules. Okay, so the 10% of the energy from the frog is getting transported to the next trophic level, that is in the snake. So, from this we can calculate B as 200 joules, right? So, frogs will be having 200 joules of energy. Then, like that, we can calculate the energy from the next one, previous trophic level, that is from the grasshopper. Energy from the grasshopper. How much energy you will get? It will be considered as C. Then, the energy of the grasshopper, 100% of energy from the grasshopper is transmitted to the frog, that is 200 joules, that we already understood, right? So, C is equal to 2000 joules. So, this grasshopper will be having 2000 joules of energy, right? Then, like that, What will be the energy that is present in the grass? Okay, it will be considered as D. Then D into 10%, that is 2000. Then we'll get D. The energy from grass will be 20,000 joule, right? 20,000 joules of energy. Okay, so the answer is 20,000 joules, right? Then question number 29. Transpiration is a necessary evil. Comment for the statement. Comment on the statement. So this is actually the question from section C. Okay, so transpiration is a necessary evil that we have already discussed in that single answer question, right? That MCQ question. Okay, so transpiration, it's a process. Okay, it is actually taking place inside the plants in which the evaporative loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant, okay, aerial parts of the leaf, that is actually transpiration. So it is actually a process that leads to water loss. Okay, so in that concept, it is actually an evil. Okay, but in the case of plants, only the transpiration is being happened. Then only these plants can absorb more water from the soil through the roots. Okay, when the plants will be lost their water as the transpiration has been proceeded. Okay, what will happen? The plant leaves will lose their all water content, right? Then what will happen? The plant parts will exert a suction pressure or suction force towards the root regions of the plant. Then the root will forcibly absorb water and minerals from the soil. Okay, then that will be getting transported through the stem, and then it will be reached into the leaves, right? So in that concept, it is actually a necessary process too. Okay, you can see an animation for transpiration here, right? So from the soil, water and minerals will be getting absorbed through the roots, and it will be getting reached into the leaves, and it will be lost through transpiration. Transpiration, evaporative loss of water from the aerial parts of the leaf, right? So this is transpiration. So transpiration is a necessary process, then it is an evil too, right? Then the next question is, it is an OR question. Describe double circulation in human beings. Okay, so you know well about what I mean by double circulation and why is it necessary. Okay, so you know that double circulation, a figure for double circulation is given here. Okay, so you know that double circulation means, okay, the blood will pass us through our heart two times, okay, twice. In different pathways, two different pathways, it will be two times it will be getting passing through the heart, right? And that is why it is called as double circulation, right? So double circulation is completed in two pathways, okay, that it includes systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. Okay, it includes pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation, right? So in pulmonary circulation, what happens is that, okay, that is this is the right side of the heart and this is the left side. Okay, so from the right ventricle, okay, right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood, okay, here you can see the blue shade, that is indicating the deoxygenated blood, and here you can see the oxygenated blood, right? So the deoxygenated blood that is present in the right ventricle, it will be getting passed into the lungs through the pulmonary arteries for oxygenation, okay, for getting oxygenated, right? So that is pulmonary circulation. And in case of systemic circulation, what happens is that from the left ventricle, right auricle and the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood is getting transported through the aorta to the different body parts. Okay, then the body will get the oxygenated pure blood. Okay, so that is the systemic circulation. Okay, so both of these included in double circulation. Okay, then in human beings, another question is, what is the necessity for this double circulation, right? And in you know that in human beings, we'll be having 4-chambered heart, right? We have 4-chambered heart. Why we need this 4-chambered heart? Okay, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood Okay, they will be getting separated to avoid the mixing up of the deoxygenated and the oxygenated blood. Okay, so that is why we are requiring this 4 chambers. Okay, so the right side and the left side of the heart is being completely separated to avoid the mixing up of the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. Okay, and by separating the right and left side of the heart, what is the use of that for the separation? We have to efficiently transport the oxygen, okay, to our body cells. Okay, the oxygen transportation is very much efficient when we are having this kind of separation. Okay, and the human beings, we know that we have to maintain a body temperature, right? So for maintaining that body temperature, we need a lot of energy. So that energy will be given by this process. Okay, so that is the necessity for this double circulation. Then question number 33. Ozone formation takes place in the stratosphere of our atmosphere. Right, and explain how the energy of the sun helps in the formation of ozone layer. Okay, we know that the sunlight will be having UV radiations, right? So, UVC radiations, this UVC radiations, okay, from the sunlight will getting, okay, into the stratosphere. What happens is that they will combine with the oxygen molecules. Okay, this UVC radiations will combining with the oxygen molecules that is present in the atmosphere. Okay, so it will never reaches the Earth's surface. Okay, then it will split this oxygen molecule. This UVC radiations will split the oxygen molecules into oxygen atoms. Oxygen atoms. Then these oxygen atoms, again they will be combining with the oxygen molecules, then it will be forming the ozone, O3. Okay, so that is the condition. Then why is ozone formation at ground level considered as a pollutant? Okay, that is the ground level ozone. Okay, the ground level ozone will be actually considered as a color. It is a colorless and an irritating gas. Okay, so the ozone which is formed at the ground level is considered as a colorless and irritating gas. Okay, which is formed just above the Earth's surface. Okay, and this gas will be considered as a secondary pollutant. Okay, it will be considered as a secondary pollutant because what is the reason for that? Because it considered as a secondary pollutant because it is produced when the two primary pollutants, they will interacting in sunlight and stagnant air. Okay, so the two primary pollutants are nitrogen oxides, and volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds. These are the two primary pollutants. Okay, so that is the answer. Then state any two health consequences of ozone layer depletion on human health. We know that by means of this ozone layer depletion, what are the consequences that we have to face? Okay, we have to face skin cancers, right? We have to face skin cancers, then cataract, then impaired immune systems. Okay, so these are the consequences of ozone layer depletion. Then question number 35. Two human beings who can both roll their tongues produced 11 children. Okay, and this question is actually from section D. Okay, so you have to explain these questions, right? So two human beings who can both roll their tongues produced 11 children, and 3 of these children could not roll their tongues and 8 children could roll their tongues, right? So that is the condition, and the question is that which trait, that is rolling or not rolling trait, is controlled by the recessive allele, in which we can easily answer this question that the human who can both roll their tongue produced 11 children. Okay, so the parents, they can, both of them can roll their tongue. Okay, so they will produce 11 children, 11 offsprings will be produced, and out of these 11, 3 will be non-rollers and the 8 will be rollers, tongue rollers. right? So, which trait is controlled by the recessive allele? Right, that is the not-rolling tongue. Okay, not-rolling tongue will be, okay, it will be acting as a recessive trait or the recessive allele, right? So, state all possible genotypes of the F1 generation of this cross. We can cross, okay, like we can consider the parents. Here, the parents must be heterozygous in condition. Both the parents are tongue rollers, and here in this condition, we can consider both the parents are heterozygous in condition. Both the parents are, this is the male parent, capital R, small r, and this is the female parent. It is also capital R, small r. Okay, so they are heterozygous for these characters. Okay, this capital R is dominant over the small r. Okay, this is rollers and this is non-rollers, right? So this is the parent. Then we can conduct a cross for this. Question is, state all possible genotypes of the F1 generation of this cross. We can cross this parents, right? So the parents will be, they must be heterozygous in condition, the male parent and the female parent, right? So they will produce their gametes, right? Capital R and small r, two types of gametes they will be producing, right? And we can cross these, capital R, small capital R, then capital R, small r, then capital R, small r, then small r, small r. So these are the offsprings in F1 generation, right? So these are the offsprings in F1 generation. Okay, so what is the question? Actually, state all possible genotypes of the F1 generation of the cross. Okay, we can select the possible genotypes, capital RR, that is one genotype, then capital R, small r, one genotype, then small r. Okay, so here these two are tongue rollers, and this is only the non-rolling offspring. Okay, not tongue rolling offspring. Then next, C part of this question is, show the inheritance of the tongue rolling in humans in the given example using a suitable cross. We are already doing that cross, done that cross, and what percentage of offspring will show the same genotype as the parents. Okay, so as the parent will be having a genotype of capital R, small r, right? These are the two parents, they will be having a heterozygous genotype, right? So how many of the offsprings will shows this same genotype as their parents? Let's see that. Here you can see, okay, parents are these are the parents actually. Okay, so the offsprings will be having capital R, that is not the parental genotype, capital R, small r, 1 and 2. Okay, these are the two parental genotypes, and here is this small r, this is again a non-parental genotype. Okay, so two offsprings, out of these four offspring, 2 will be showing parental type, right? And here you can see in this question, total 11 offsprings are being formed. Okay, so for this, we'll be having that, we can consider it as 100%. From this 100%, only 50% will be showing the parental genotype. Okay. And the other 50% will be non-parental genotype. 50% of offsprings showing the parental genotype, right? So this is the cross, right? Okay, so what percentage of offspring will show the same genotype as the parent? 50% of the offsprings will show the genotype which is same as their parents, right? Then here is an O question for the C part only. So if one of the parents could not roll their tongue, means the parent is a homozygous recessive parent. One of the parent is a homozygous recessive parent and the other parent is a heterozygous dominant one, right? So this is the condition. For this condition, with the help of a cross, calculate the ratio of tongue rollers to non-tongue rollers in the offspring. Let's calculate the ratio. So for this cross, what will be the gametes formed? Here capital R, small r will be forming, here small r only. Okay, we can cross these capital R, then small r, small r. So these are the two offsprings here. Okay, so if one of the parent is a non-roller tongue, okay, one of the parent that could not roll their tongue, then its genetic genotype will be like small r, okay. Then we when we draw a cross for this condition, what will happen? Okay, out of the total offsprings, one will be showing the parental character and the other one will be a recessive character. Okay, so the ratio is 1:1. Okay, we can get 1:1 ratio. Okay, so the ratio of tongue rollers to non-tongue rollers, to non-tongue rollers is 1:1 ratio. Okay, so this is the answer. Then question number 38. A student crossed, it is actually a question from section E, okay, that you have to keep in mind. A student crossed pea plants having round and yellow seeds with the pea plants having wrinkled and green seeds. Okay, so the parents are round yellow seeds. Okay, so we can write it as round yellow seeded parent will be crossed with the wrinkled green seeded parents. Wrinkled green seeded plants. Okay, the crossing will be taking place between these two parents. So parents will obtain the parents. Then he found that only one type of seeds were produced in the F1 generation. Okay, one type of seeds are produced in the F1 generation. When these F1 generation pea plants were self-pollinated, okay, with each other, then in addition to the seed type of F1 generation, some of the new varieties or the new types of seed combination were also obtained in the F2 generation. That you know. Okay, when we are studying about the dihybrid cross, we know that some new combinations will be obtained in F2 generation. Okay, so the question is, mention the dominant traits observed in the F1 generation. So we have to do the cross here. Okay, so we'll conduct a cross like capital R, capital YY, that is round yellow. Okay, one of the parent, round yellow parent. Okay, it is crossed with a wrinkled green parent. Okay, wrinkled green parent. Right, so we'll get gametes like capital R, capital Y. One of the gamete is the other one. Okay, this only one gamete is being present, capital R, capital Y, and here you can see small r, small y. These are homozygous conditions, right? Then we'll cross these gametes and we'll get capital R, capital Y, small y. This is the F1 generation. Okay, so the F1 generation will show a new variety, okay, which is different from the parental genotypes, right? But the parents are round yellow and wrinkled green, and the F1 generation plant, its phenotype is again, it is round yellow because the capital R round condition is dominant over the wrinkled condition and yellow condition is dominant over the green condition. Okay, so the phenotype is again round yellow, but the genotype is somewhat different. Okay, it is a heterozygous one, right? So the question is what? Mention the dominant traits observed in F1 generation. Okay, which is the dominant trait? That is round yellow, that is the dominant trait, right? Then what are the new possible combinations of seeds likely to be observed in F2 generation? So you have to to get the F2 generation, we have to self-pollinate the F1 progenies, right? So we have to self-pollinate the F1. Okay, that is capital R, capital Y, small y, crossed with the capital R, capital Y, small y. Okay, then we'll get gametes. 4 different type of gametes will obtain, right? Capital R, capital Y, then capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. Here also like this, capital R, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. These are the 4 different gametes that we'll obtain from each of these F1 progenies, right? Then we'll put this into a Punnett square, okay? So we'll draw a Punnett square here. Okay, so capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. Okay, so the gametes will be written like this. Right. So these are the gametes. Then we'll cross all each of them like this. Capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. Like this you can make the cross. Okay. Then we'll get the F2 progenies. After this, constructing this Punnett square, we'll get the F2 progenies. So the question is that what are the new possible combinations of seeds likely to be observed in F2 generation? Okay. So beyond this parental conditions, we'll get some new combination like a round yellow. Beyond this round yellow, we'll get round green seeds. Okay, round green seeds, then wrinkled yellow seeds. Okay, we know the parents are round yellow and wrinkled green. Then we'll cross this. After the F2 generation, we'll get new combinations like the phenotypes like a round green will get, then wrinkled yellow we will get. Okay, then the wrinkled green also we will get. Wrinkled green is also. Okay, that is complete homozygous recessive. Okay, that is also getting. That is actually a parallel character. So the new combinations are these two phenotypes. Okay, that will observed after the F2 or in the F2 generation. Okay, then C part, give reason why the traits which were not visible in the seeds of the F1 generation, that is being reappeared in the seeds of the F2 generation. Okay. So, some of the recessive traits that you know, according to the law of dominance, the recessive traits that will not express in the F1 generation. Okay, then that will be expressed only in the F2 generation because of the law of segregation. That is the reason for that. Okay, so one of the allele is dominant over the recessive one. Okay, here the round allele is dominant over the wrinkled allele and the yellow allele is dominant over the green allele. Okay, so in F1 generation only this round and yellow is being getting expressed. Okay, so we'll get that kind of yellow, round yellow type of offsprings in F1 generation phenotypically. But in F2 generation, the hidden alleles, okay, the small r and small y, that is wrinkled and green conditions, okay, that is being expressed in the F2 generation because of the law of segregation. Then here is an OR question for this question 2, that is, write the ratio of different types of seeds which is obtained in F2 generation in this case. Okay, so in this case, we'll get different types of seeds obtained in F2 generation. This F2 generation will get different type of seeds and you have to write the ratio of these type of the F progenies which is being obtained in the F2 generation. Okay, so here you can see total 16 plants were observed in F2 generation here, and you can see okay, round yellow phenotypes. Okay, that is about 9 numbers. Then round green phenotypes, that is in 3 numbers. Then wrinkled yellow, new combination, that is in 3 numbers. Then the recessive one, wrinkled green seeds, that is in only 1 number. Okay, in the last condition only you can, in the last condition, okay, only this last condition you will get the recessive genotype, that is the wrinkled green. Okay, so the ratio is 9:3:3:1. Okay, so this is the ratio for this. Okay, so that is about this question paper. So I hope you all understood about the different questions that we have discussed in this set 2 question paper of CBSE. Okay, so thank you.
Hi my dear students. So now let us discuss some previous year questions from the physics chapters. Okay, so let's start with the questions in physics. The first question, that is the 13th question as per the previous year question paper, which says that a cell, a resistor, a key, an ammeter are arranged as shown in the circuit diagrams below. The current which is recorded in the ammeter will be. So let's see the options here. Option A, maximum in 1. Option B, maximum in 2. Option C, maximum in 3. And option D, the same in all the cases. So here you can see the 3 circuit diagrams given. Right. Okay. Let's see the diagrams here. Now in these diagrams, all these 3 diagrams, you can see the key, the ammeter, the cell and the resistance. All these are connected in the same way. And even if you notice, you can see that the positive of the cell is connected to the positive of the ammeter in all these 3 diagrams. Okay, only the position is changing here. So what does that mean? If the positive of the cell is connected to the positive of the ammeter, then the current recorded in the ammeter in all these 3 cases will be the same. So which will be our correct option? Yes, we have the current recorded in the ammeter will be the same in all the 3 cases, all the 3 diagrams given below. So the option D. Okay, clear. Coming to the next question. Question number 14. A uniform magnetic field exists in the plane of the paper pointing from left to right as shown in the figure. In the field, an electron and a proton move as shown. The electron and proton experiences. So let's see the options. Option A, forces both pointing into the plane of the paper. Option B, forces both pointing out of the plane of the paper. Option C, forces pointing into the plane of the paper and out of the plane of the paper respectively, that is for electron and proton. And option D, forces pointing opposite and along the direction of the uniform magnetic field respectively. Okay, so let's see the diagram over here. Here you can see the uniform magnetic field is shown, which is towards the right. The direction of proton, which is in the upward direction, and the direction of electron is shown downwards. And we already know the direction of the current is taken to be opposite to the direction of motion of the electrons. That means here the direction of the current will be in the upward direction. Right. So here both the proton and the direction of current is in the upward direction. So as per the Fleming's left-hand rule, if we apply the left-hand rule, we know that if we keep the fingers which are mutually perpendicular, the forefinger, the middle finger and the thumb mutually perpendicular to each other, and if the forefinger shows the direction of the magnetic field, the middle finger shows the direction of the current, then the thumb will point out in the direction of force or motion of the conductor. So if you stretch your left hand in such a way that the magnetic field which is shown in the direction is towards the right, the direction of the current or the proton is in the upward direction, then you can see that this thumb is pointing into the screen, that means into the plane of the paper. So as per the Fleming's left-hand rule, what happens? The electron and the proton are experiencing a force which is directed into the plane of the paper. And what is our correct option? Yes, option A, which says that force is both pointing into the plane of the paper. Okay, so here the electron and proton are experiencing the forces which are pointing both into the plane of the paper. So our option is option A. Okay, coming to the next question. Question number 15. The current flowing through a conductor and the potential difference across its 2 ends are as per the readings of the ammeter and the voltmeter shown in the figure. The resistance of the conductor would be, the options are option A, 0.02 ohm, option B, 0.024 ohm, option C, 20 ohm, and option D, 24 ohm. Okay, let's see the diagram which is given over here. So in the diagram, you can see that the ammeter reading which shows over here is in milliampere. Okay, and we know that 1 milliampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Right. And what about the reading here? The reading which the needle shows here is around 380 milliampere. Correct? So converting into amperes, what we get? 380 into 10 raised to minus 3. Fine. And this is in amperes. Now what about the voltmeter reading? So here the voltmeter reads as 7.6 volt. Okay. So now what we have to calculate is the resistance of the conductor. As per the Ohm's law, what we have? We know that there is a direct relationship between V, I and R, and as per the Ohm's law, it is V equal to IR. So from here, what do we get? We get R is equal to V by I. What's the value of V? Here it is given as 7.6. The value of I, we got it from the ammeter reading as 380 into 10 raised to minus 3. So let us solve for this. So what do we get? We get it as 7.6. Taking 10 raised to negative 3 to the numerator, it becomes positive, divided by 380. Okay. 7.6 into 10 raised to 3 means 1000. It gives you 7600 divided by 380. You can cancel the zeros. 760 divided by 38. We know that 38 goes with 760 as 20. 38 into 2 is 76. So 760 divided by 38 is 20. And the unit of resistance is ohm. So what is the value we get? We get the value of resistance as 20 ohm, which is our correct option. We have option C, which says that the resistance of the conductor here is 20 ohm. Okay, clear. Coming to the next question. Question number 16. Okay, the most important safety method which is used for protecting home appliances from short circuiting or overloading is, options are earthing, use of fuse, use of stabilizers, and use of electric meter. So we already know that due to short circuiting or overloading, there will be an abrupt increase in the current. And to protect the devices and the circuit from these short circuiting and overloading, or the damages which may be prevented due to short circuiting and overloading, we can use safety devices, that is electric fuses, right? So here, which is our correct option? Option B, use of fuse can protect the devices, the home appliances, and even the circuit from the abrupt increase in the current due to short circuiting or overloading. So our correct option is option B, use of fuse. Right. Coming to the next question. Question number 20, which is an assertion reasoning question. So here we already know the options, that is, when the questions are given, two statements, assertion and reasoning statements are given, we have to choose the correct option from A, B, C, D. A says both A and R are true. That means assertion and reason are true. And reason is the correct explanation for assertion. Option B says both assertion and reason are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation for assertion. Option C says assertion is true, but the reason is false. And option D says assertion is false and the reason is true. And what are the statements given over here? As per the assertion statement, the strength of the magnetic field at the center of a circular coil of a wire depends on the radius. We know that the strength of the magnetic field is inversely proportional to the distance or the radius of the coil. Right. So the statement is true. What about the reason? It says that depends on the strength of the magnetic field depends on the number of turns, which is also true. But it is not the correct explanation for the assertion statement. So that means assertion and reason both are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion statement. And which is our correct option here? Option B, which says that both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for assertion. So the correct option is option B. Okay, coming to the next question. So we come to section B, question number 25. Complete the ray diagram and mark the angle of deviation and hence define the angle of deviation. So here you can see we are given a prism. Okay, and the incident ray is shown here. Now what will happen to this incident ray as it passes through the prism? Well, it will bend here at the interface of the two medium, that means from the rarer to the denser medium, the incident ray of light will bend, and again here it will come out of the prism also after bending, and yes, when it passes through the prism, it will split into 7 colors also. But let us see over here what happens when the incident ray passes through the prism. So this is our incident ray, this is our normal here, and this becomes our angle of incidence, and if you draw the normal over here, this becomes our angle of emergence, right? So this ray will be representing the emergent ray. That means if I say AB is the incident ray and CD becomes the emergent ray. Okay, so when this incident ray, that is AB, is incident on this prism, it bends and comes out of the prism as CD, which is the emergent ray. Now, when you extend this incident ray and the emergent ray, right, it makes an angle over here, which we call it as the angle of deviation denoted by D. Okay, so here this D represents the angle of deviation. Okay, now what is this angle of deviation? Well, we know that this is the incident ray and actually its original path was this, right? But it deviates from its original path. At this particular position, it deviates from its original path. So the angle which is formed between the extended incident ray and the emergent ray is what we call it as the angle of deviation. Okay, so we have to define angle of deviation. It is the angle which is formed between the extended incident ray and the emergent ray. The incident ray deviates from its original path here, where it makes an angle with the emergent ray, which we call it as the angle of deviation. Okay, coming to the next question, wherein it is an OR question. So the question says a student who is sitting at the back of the classroom cannot read clearly the letters written on the blackboard. What advice will a doctor give to her? Draw the ray diagram for the correction of this defect. Okay. So if the student who is sitting at the back of the classroom is not able to see or read the letters written on the blackboard, that means she is suffering from a defect. And which is that defect? Wherein the person is able to see the nearby objects clearly, but not able to see the far away objects. That means the letters which are written on the blackboard, and she is sitting at the back of the classroom. So the person who is able to see the nearby objects but not able to see the faraway objects, that person is suffering from the defect which we call it as myopia, or we also call it as short-sightedness or nearsightedness. Okay, so here the student is suffering from myopia. So what lenses or which lenses the student should be using, or what advice will the doctor give to her? The doctor may advise her to use concave lenses, that is, the diverging lenses of suitable focal length to correct the myopia. Right? We know that to correct myopia, we have to use concave lens of suitable focal length. So here, the doctor may advise her to use a concave lens of suitable focal length. Now, we have to draw the ray diagram for the correction of this defect. So let's see the diagram over here. Here it is the myopic eye, wherein the image will not be formed on the retina. Instead, it will be formed in front of the retina. So to correct this defect, myopia, we have to use a concave lens here, which is a diverging lens wherein the rays of light will diverge, and then when it passes through the eye lens, the image will be obtained on the retina. So the doctor will advise her to use this concave lens, which is a diverging lens, to correct the defects so that the image will be formed on the retina. Clear? Coming to the next question. Question number 30, which is from section C. A part says, draw ray diagrams to show the formation of a 3 times magnified real image as well as virtual image of an object which is kept in front of a converging lens. Converging lens is a convex lens. Mark the positions of the object, that is F, 2F, O, and also the position of the image clearly in the diagram. Okay. So when we have to get a magnified, 3 times magnified image in the case of a converging lens, that is convex lens, where should we keep the object? Okay, let us see the diagram over here. So this is our converging lens or the convex lens. This is our principal axis. Okay, and this represents the optic center. This is F1, 2F1, and we have F2 and 2F2. Okay, we can represent the lens as MN. Okay, now we have to get a magnified image, 3 times magnified image. And in which case we will get a magnified image? Of course, when we keep the object in between F1 and 2F1. So when we keep the object between F1 and 2F1, the first ray, which is parallel to the principal axis, will pass through F2. The second ray, the second rule that says the ray passes through the optic center and it will meet somewhere beyond 2F1, and here we can see there is a magnified image formed. Okay, the rays are represented by arrow marks. Here we can represent the object as AB. So here we get an inverted image which is magnified, and of course real images formed here, real and inverted images formed over here. So if we have to get a image, real image which is 3 times magnified, the object must be kept between F1 and 2F1 in the case of convex lens. Okay. Now what about the second case? So this was our first one. What about the second case wherein we have to get a virtual image of the object? Okay, let's see the diagram for the second one, that is to get a virtual image. So again, the convex lens, okay, the principal axis, and here we have the optic center. We have F1, 2F1, again F2 and 2F2. So we know that to get a virtual image in the case of convex lens, where we have to keep the object, we have to keep the object between the optic center and F1. So here we have kept the object. Here in the first ray, parallel to principal axis will pass through the focus, that is F2. The second ray pass through the optic center, and if you extend these two rays wherein they will meet here at this point, that is in front of the lens, that means the same side as that of the object, and here you can see we have got a virtual image. Okay, so here AB represents the object, A dash B dash represents the image. So we have got a virtual and erect image of the object which is kept in front of the converging lens, wherein we keep the object in between the optic center and F1. So we get the virtual image on the same side of the lens or on the same side as that of the object here. Clear? And we have already marked the positions, that is F, 2F and optic center is already marked. Hope this question is clear. Coming to the next question, that is the B part of the same question. An object of size 5 centimeter is kept at a distance of 25 centimeter from the optic center of a converging lens of focal length 10 centimeter. We have to draw the ray diagram and find the position, size and the nature of the image formed. Okay. So what is given over here? Object of size 5 centimeter, that means H is given to be 5 centimeter, or we can take it as HO, size of the object as 5 centimeter, which is kept at a distance of 25 centimeter. So the distance of the object, that is U, is given to be 25 centimeter, and we know that as per the sign convention, object is always on the left hand side, we take it as negative. So U is minus 25 centimeter. What else is given? The focal length is given, and for a convex lens, the focal length will be positive, so we get F equal to 10 centimeter. Okay, now let's find the position and the size of the image. So from here, using the lens formula, what we have? 1 by F is equal to 1 by V minus of 1 by U. And what we have to find is V, the position of the image. So, right? So, V represents the position of the image. So, from here we get, by rearranging 1 by V equal to 1 by F plus 1 by U. Substituting the values, what we get here is 1 by 10 plus 1 by negative 25. Solving for it, what do we get? We have 1 by 10, let's take the negative over here, minus 1 by 25, or we get 25 minus 10 by 10 into 25. 25 minus 10 will give you 15 divided by 10 into 25. This is 1 by V, so from here we get it as 10 into 25 divided by 15 gives you 5 2 times 10, 5 3 times 15, 25 into 2 is 50 by 3, which gives you 313, 23, 16.66 centimeter as the distance of the image. So, we get the value of V as 16.66 approximately. Okay. Now, what about the size of the image? So, we know according to the magnification formula M equal to HI by HO, which gives you V by U, right. Now, the value of V, U and HO is already known to us. So, let's substitute. So, M is equal to HI by height of the object is already given, that is 5. V we already found out, that is 50 by 3, and the value of U is given to be minus 25. Solving for HI, what we get? We get it as 50 into cross multiplying, 5 will be taken to the other side, 3 into minus 25. 25 2 times is 50. So, we get it as 2 into 5, 10 by 3, and which gives you the answer as minus 3.33 centimeter approximately. Okay. So, we have already got the value of V as well as the value of HI, and here the negative sign indicates that the image formed is real and inverted. And when you compare the size of the object and the image, the size of the object was given to be 5 centimeter, and you can see that the size of the image is 3.33, which is less than the size of the object. That means the object size is diminished. Okay, so these are the values. Now we have to represent with the ray diagrams. So let's see the ray diagram over here. So it's the converging lens, right? This is our optic center, F1, 2F1, F2 and 2F2. Okay, now what were the values? We got the value of V as 16.66 centimeter, and the value of U was given to be minus 25 centimeter. HO was given to be 5 centimeter. HI we got it as minus of 3.33 centimeter approximately. Okay, so let's represent this value with the ray diagram. Now the distance of the object is 25 centimeter and the focal length is already given to be 10 centimeter. Focal length is 10 centimeter. So here this distance is 10 centimeter, right? So what about 2F1? That will be double of it, that is 20 centimeter. And the object is kept at 25 centimeter. That means it is kept beyond 2F1. Okay, so this is our object. Now let's represent the ray diagram. First ray parallel to the principal axis passes through the focus. The second ray will pass through the optic center and will meet the first ray after refraction at this particular point. Right, that is between F2 and 2F2. So this is our object and this is our image, and we can see clearly from the diagram that the size of the image is smaller than that of the object, and the position of the image which we get is between F2 and 2F2. That means it is between 10 and 20 centimeter, and we have already got the value as 16.66 centimeter. So this is the ray diagram to represent the position, size, and of course the nature of the image formed in this particular question. Clear? Coming to the next question. Question number 31. Okay, again the ray diagrams. By drawing the ray diagrams, explain the formation of image when an object is placed on the principal axis of a convex lens at the following positions. So the first position here is at 2f1, then between f1 and optic center, and the last one is between f1 and 2f1. So one by one, let us represent this with the ray diagram. So here it is again the convex lens, that is a converging lens. So this is our converging lens. This is our optic center. We represent f1 and 2f1 as well as f2. We have 2f2 here. Okay. Now the first one, A part says the object is at 2f1. We know that when we keep the object at 2f1, the image will be formed at 2f2, right? So let us represent it. First ray parallel to the principal axis passes through the focus. Now the second ray, it passes through the optic center and it meets the first ray at this position, which is again 2f2. And if you check out the size of the object is the same as the size of the image. Let's represent with the rays. Right, rays are very, very important. So when the object is at 2f1, we get the image also at 2f2, that is on the other side of the lens. The distance, you know that it remains the same, hence the size of the object and the size of the image is also the same. Okay, so that is our first case. Now coming to the second one, wherein we are going to keep the object between f1 and optic center. So we have B part, wherein we are going to keep the object between optic center and f1. Okay. So here we have 2f2. So we are keeping the object between optic center and 2f1. So this is our object. First ray parallel to principal axis passes through the focus here. Okay. What about the second ray? Second ray will pass through the optic center. And when you extend these two rays, you can see that it meets at this position, that is on the same side as that of the object, wherein we get the image that is magnified, okay, and virtual and erect image. So when the object is kept between optic center and f1, the image is formed on the same side as that of the object, and it will be virtual and erect image. So that is our second case. Now coming to the third one, wherein we are going to keep the object between f1 and 2f1. So let's take the third case, wherein the object is kept between f1 and 2f1. So when we keep the object between f1 and 2f1, where do we get the image? Let's see. So we are keeping the object here between f1 and 2f1. So the first ray parallel to principal axis, and then it will pass through the focus, that is f2. The second ray after refraction will pass, and you can see that it meets beyond 2f2. So when the object is kept between f1 and 2f1, we get the image beyond 2f2, again a real and inverted image. Clear? So that is our third case. Okay. So these are the diagrams which represents the formation of image when we keep the object at 2f1. So in that case, we got the image at 2f1 itself, 2f2 itself, and the size of the object and the image was same. Then when it was kept between optic center and f1, we got the image on the same side as that of the object, and it was a virtual and erect image. And the third case, where we keep the object between f1 and 2f1, we get the image beyond 2f2, which is real and inverted and magnified image. Okay, so this is how we represent with the ray diagrams for the objects at different positions. Okay, coming to the next question. Question number 32. Describe with the help of a diagram an activity to show that a current carrying conductor experiences a force when placed in a magnetic field. On what factors does this force depends on? Okay, we have already learnt the activity which is based on the force acting on the current carrying conductor, wherein this is the figure where we have kept an aluminium rod. Okay, the conductor here is the aluminium rod which is connected to the circuit and it is placed between the poles of the magnet. So what does the activity says? When a current carrying conductor is placed in the magnetic field, what happens? It will experience a force. And you can see whenever a force is experienced, this conductor will show a deflection, a momentary deflection here. Okay, so whenever a current carrying conductor, here the current carrying conductor is already connected to the, this conductor is already connected to the circuit. That means when a current is flowing through it, there is already a magnetic field set up and another magnetic field is due to this magnet. So there are two magnetic fields which are interacting. So there will be either an attraction or a repulsion, and in this case the conductor shows a deflection due to the force here, and that shows that there has been a repulsion or there has been a momentary deflection here. Okay, so this is the activity for the force acting on a current carrying conductor. Now we have another question here that says that on what factors does this force depends on? Of course, the factors on which the force depends on here will be the strength of the magnetic field, then of course the amount of current passing through the conductor, and also the length of the conductor. Okay, so there are three factors on which the force acting on a current carrying conductor depends on. That is the strength of the magnetic field, the amount of the current and the length of the conductor. Okay, so these are the factors as per the question. Clear? So this is a diagram to show the force acting on a current carrying conductor, wherein the current is passing through the conductor and it is already kept in a magnetic field. So whenever the current is passing through the conductor, there is a magnetic field set up. So there will be an interaction between two magnetic fields here, and because of that this conductor will show a deflection, a momentary movement due to either attraction or repulsion. Okay, and these are the three factors on which the force acting on the current carrying conductor depends on. Okay, coming to the next question. Our question: how the electrical appliances are connected in household circuits. This figure shows a domestic electric circuit. Study this circuit carefully and point out any three errors in the circuit. Okay, we know that the domestic circuit is parallel circuit. That means in the household circuit, which is the domestic circuit, all the electrical appliances are connected in parallel. So we have a parallel connection over here. Okay. Now, what about the second question? It says that there are some errors in the circuit and we have to point out that. So here you can see that the fuse is connected to the neutral wire, and that is wrong. Fuse should always be connected to the live wire. So fuse should be connected to the, or here the error is fuse is connected to the neutral wire. Okay, which is not correct, right? What about the second error? Now here you can see that the bulb B2 is not connected to this neutral wire, right? Only B1 is connected. So the bulb B2 is not connected to the neutral wire. And what about the third error? We can see that bulb B1 is connected to both the switches, that is S1 and S2, and B2 is not connected to S2. So the connection B1 is connected to switches S1 and S2, wherein B2 is not connected. B2 is not connected to the switch. into the switch which is S2. Okay, so these are the 3 errors which we can find in this domestic circuit. So the connection here is parallel connection, and the 3 errors which we have found out is fuse should be connected to the live wire, wherein here it is connected to the neutral. Then B2 is not connected to the neutral wire, and switches S1 and S2 are only connected to B1. Okay. So these are the 3 errors. I hope the question is clear. Coming to the next question. Section D, question number 36. A household uses the following electrical appliances. A. Refrigerator of rating 400 watt for 10 hours per day. B. 2 electric fans of rating 80 watt each for 12 hours each day. C. 6 electric tubes of rating 18 watt each for 6 hours each day. Calculate the electricity bill of the household for the month of March if the cost per unit of electrical energy is Rs 3. So now we know that to calculate the electrical energy, we have the formula or the relationship between energy, power and time, that is E equal to P into T. So let's use this formula to calculate this. Okay, so we have for the first one, that is refrigerator of rating 400 watt for 10 hours each day. Let's take it as E1. So E1 gives you, one refrigerator is there of 400 watt. So 1 into 400 watt multiplied by 10 hours. Okay, and what's the value we get? 400 into 10, that gives you 4000 watt hour, and converting into kilowatt, what we get? It as 4 kilowatt hour. Okay, coming to the next one, E2, that is for the electric fans. There are 2 electric fans, 80 watt each, 12 hours. Okay, so what do we get? 80 into 2, that is 160, and 160 into 12. Okay, 12 1 12, 1920, right? So we get it as 1920 watt hour, or in kilowatt we get it as 1.92 kilowatt hour. Third one is electric tubes. So the energy E3 comes out to be 6 electric tubes, 18 watt each, and runs for 6 hours. Okay, so we have 6 into 6, 36 into 18. So what do we get? It's 648, 288, 616, 313. So 648. Okay, so we get the value here as 648 watt hour, or in kilowatt hour we will have 0.648 kilowatt hour. Okay, so these are the energies used by the appliances which are given. Now we have to calculate the total energy. So what will be the total energy? Total energy will be the sum of these energies, right? So we have the values over here, that is E, total energy equal to E1 plus E2 plus E3, that is 4 plus 1.92 plus 0.648. So let's add it up here. What do we get? 4 plus 1.92 and 0.648 gives you 8, 6, 15, 6.568. Okay, so the total energy comes out to be 6.568 kilowatt hour. Now we have to calculate it for the month of March. And how many days are there in March? There are 31 days. So multiplying by 31. Okay. And again, what about the cost? Cost per unit is Rs 3. We know that 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1 unit. So 6.568 kilowatt hour will be equal to 6.568 units multiplied by 31 for the month of March. And to calculate the cost, we have 6.568 into 31 multiplied by the amount, that is 3 rupees per unit, and it gives you 6.568 multiplied by 93, and let's see how much we get. 6.568 multiplied by 93. 8 3 24, we carry 2, 6 3 18, 20. So we have 5, 3, 15, 17, 19, and again 9, 8, 72, carry 7, 54, 61, carry 6, 9, 5, 45, 51, 54, 59. So it comes out to be 4, 2, 7, 1, 8, 10, 11, 6. And 3 decimal places. So it comes out to be 610.824. So the cost comes out to be rupees 610.824. Okay, so this is the electricity bill for the month of March for these appliances at the rate of rupees 3 per unit. Clear? So this is how you calculate the electricity bill. Fine. Coming to the next question. Let's go to the next question now. Question number 39, that is from section E. It's a case study question. We can see when the pencil immersed in water, it appears like bent at the water-air interface. So we know that whenever an object is immersed in a liquid and there are 2 transparent mediums, there will be refraction taking place, that is bending will take place. Okay, so it appears to be bent, the pencil appears to be bent. Also the letters appears to be raised when we will see that the letters through a glass slab placed over it. If the media used are different, that means the bending of light is different in different media. And hence, we can say that the light does not travel along a straight line path through different media. There will be variations, yes. According to the velocity of light in that medium, the bending of light takes place because the refractive index changes. Thus, we can say that the phenomena in which the light ray bends or changes its direction when traveling from one medium to another is called the refraction of light. Right. So, we have already learned the definition of refraction of light as per the passage also it is given. And also we can observe that if the ray of light is traveling from rarer to denser medium, it bends towards the normal, whereas when a ray of light travels from a denser to a rarer medium, it bends away from the normal. The extent of bending of light in a particular medium mostly depends on the refractive index of the medium, and more the refractive index, more is the bending, or denser is the medium and less will be the velocity of light in that medium. If less is the refractive index, then less will be the bending, medium is rarer and the velocity of light will be more in that medium. The refractive index of air is found to be 1.0003 and that of water is found to be 1.33. Let's see what else is given. And hence, water is a denser medium than air. Air is a rarer medium as compared to water. Thus, the velocity of light in medium air is greater than the velocity of light in water. Thus, for different media, the refractive index is different and accordingly, the velocity of light is also different. So, this was the passage given. Now, let's see what are the question that follows. A. If the refractive indices of glass and ice are 1.52 and 1 respectively, then in which medium the velocity of light is more and what is its value? Okay. So, we have already seen in the passage and already we have learned that the refractive index, that is denoted by N, is equal to C by V. That's the formula which we have learned. C is a constant. So, we know that the refractive index varies inversely with the velocity of light in that particular medium or in any medium, right? So, here the refractive index of glass, that is Ng, is given to be 1.52. Refractive index of ice is given to be 1.31. And what is the question? In which medium the velocity of light is more? So, if the velocity is more, that means the refractive index should be less. It is inversely proportional. So, in which case the refractive index is less? We can see that the refractive index of ice is less compared to that of the glass, that is given to be 1.31. So, the velocity of light will be more in the case of ice. Okay. Now, we have to calculate the value also. So, let's use the formula to calculate the value, that is N equal to C by V. So, what will be V here? V will be equal to C by N. The value of C is already known to us, that is 3 into 10 raised to 8, and N, that is given to be 1.31, that is the refractive index of ice. Let's solve this. So, we get V equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 1.31 approximately will be 2.29 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Okay, so we have to define a rarer and a denser medium on the basis of optical density. Okay, so we know that the medium in which the speed of the light is more is a rarer medium, and wherein the medium, the speed of the light is less, is a denser medium, as we have seen in the passage also. Here water is a denser medium, air is a rarer medium. So we know that velocity of light in the medium air, which is a rarer medium, is greater than the velocity of the light in water, which is a denser medium. Okay, so velocity of the light is more in the case of a rarer medium and it is less in the case of a denser medium. Coming to the next part of this question, if the refractive index of diamond is found to be highest, that is 2.42, then what does it indicate? The velocity of light in diamond is lower, or it is reduced by a factor of 2.42 when you compare it with the velocity of light in. Okay, so it reduces by a factor of 2.42 in the case of diamond when you compare it with the velocity of light in air. Now we have an OR question for this part C, that is, what will happen if you took a glass filled with kerosene instead of water, and what would be the observations? Well, we know that the optical density of kerosene is comparatively more than that of water. So what will happen in this case? When the pencil is kept in the glass which is filled with kerosene instead of water, you will find the bending of pencil will be more as compared to that when it is filled with, or when the glass is filled with water, or in the case of water. So the bending of pencil, as we observe, will be more in the case of kerosene as compared to that of water. Okay, so this is a question which is based on the refractive index, or the refraction of light in different mediums. Okay, so these are the questions from the sample paper set 2, which has come from the physics portion. I hope all the questions are clear to you. So work out these questions, learn it properly. All the best for the exams. Thank you so much.